My beloved child, there are moments that arrive quietly, yet they carry a weight so deep that everything around them begins to feel different before anyone can explain why. Last night was one of those moments. Something shifted in silence, and even if no one has spoken about it yet, even if the morning looked ordinary, what happened in the unseen hours has already touched the heart of the person you love deeply. Do not skip because something huge is waiting for you. You may have noticed a strange distance, a pause in their voice, a slower reply, a look that seemed present and absent at the same time. It is not your imagination. Some nights leave marks that words cannot easily describe. Some hours pass like ordinary darkness, yet they return carrying thoughts powerful enough to rearrange emotions that were hidden for a very long time. And last night, while the world slept, that person sat with thoughts they had been trying to avoid. There was no crowd around them, no noise, no distraction strong enough to silence what suddenly rose inside their heart. A memory returned without warning. A feeling they believed they had already controlled appeared again, stronger than before, clearer than before, impossible to ignore. Stay till the end because what began last night is still unfolding right now. They remembered conversations they never admitted mattered. They replayed moments they once treated like nothing, only to realize those moments had quietly become unforgettable. A single detail, a voice, a gesture, a sentence once spoken lightly, all of it returned together. And suddenly the night no longer felt normal. What changed everything was not one dramatic event outside them, it was what happened inside. For the first time in a long while, they stopped pretending to themselves. That is why the energy around them feels unfamiliar today. That is why even if they speak normally, something underneath has become heavier, deeper, more uncertain. Because when someone finally faces what they have hidden from their own heart, they cannot remain exactly the same the next morning. Do not skip now because the next part matters more than you think. There was a moment last night when they almost reached for words they have never sent. A moment when they nearly broke the silence they had protected for too long. Their thoughts moved closer to honesty than ever before. And although they stopped, the decision inside them did not disappear. Something in them has started asking questions they can no longer silence. Why does one person remain in their thoughts even during quiet hours? Why does distance suddenly feel heavier than before? Why do ordinary memories now feel like signs they should no longer ignore? These questions did not leave when morning came. That is why today carries unusual weight. Because when a person begins to question what their heart has been protecting, change begins, slowly, but it begins powerfully. Something huge is waiting for you, because the night did not end when the clock moved forward. The night continues through every thought they are carrying now. There is more. A detail appeared last night that they did not expect. It could have been a word they heard, a face they saw, a reminder they did not plan for. But whatever it was, it opened something old and unfinished. Suddenly, what they had kept locked became impossible to dismiss. And in that moment, they understood that pretending nothing matters is harder than admitting something does. This is why their silence now means more than before. Silence is not emptiness. Sometimes silence is where the loudest decisions are forming. Stay till the end, because you have not yet seen where this leads. They may look calm outwardly, but inwardly, they are standing between two powerful directions. One that tells them to remain unchanged, and another that tells them that after last night, remaining unchanged may no longer be possible. That inner conflict is stronger than anyone around them knows, because some realizations arrive only once. Some nights return only one truth, but that one truth is enough to alter the days ahead. And last night gave them a truth they were not ready to face. Certain feelings do not disappear simply because they were ignored. They return stronger when the heart becomes quiet enough to hear them. Do not skip, because what you sense now is only the beginning. Even now, while hours continue moving, they are measuring words in their mind. They are imagining possibilities they refused to imagine before. They are wondering whether the silence they maintained has protected them or only delayed something inevitable. The person you love deeply may not explain this immediately. They may not even fully understand why they feel different, but the difference is real. And sometimes the strongest change begins before anyone speaks a single sentence. Last night did not create something new. It revealed something that had already been growing quietly for longer than expected. That is why today feels unusual. That is why what happens next may surprise even them. Something huge is waiting for you. Because when a heart changes during silence, the next visible step often arrives unexpectedly. And what they decide after carrying this night inside them may become impossible to ignore very soon. What happened after that silent night became even more unusual when the morning hours began to pass. Because sometimes a person does not understand their own heart immediately. They only begin to notice that ordinary things no longer feel ordinary. The person you love deeply entered today carrying thoughts they did not expect to still be holding. Even simple moments felt heavier than before. Familiar places looked unchanged. Yet something inside them was reacting differently to everything around them. Do not skip, because this part explains why their silence has become more meaningful than anyone realizes. There was a moment today when they paused for no visible reason. A brief pause, unnoticed by others, but powerful inside them. In that pause, the memory of last night returned again, clearer than before, not as confusion this time, but as something they could no longer dismiss. They tried to focus elsewhere. They tried to move into routine, but certain thoughts kept returning with unusual strength. That is how true emotional shifts often begin, not loudly, but repeatedly until they can no longer be pushed aside. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you. A sentence they once ignored now sounds different in their memory. A past moment they once considered small suddenly feels important. Even words they never answered fully now seem to carry new meaning. What changed is not the past itself. What changed is how deeply they are finally seeing it. And when someone begins seeing old moments through a new heart, they start understanding what they should have understood much earlier. That realization is why their expression today may seem thoughtful, distant, or unexpectedly quiet. Because inside them, something is still unfolding. They are beginning to ask whether last night came only as a passing emotional moment, or whether it revealed something they have delayed admitting for too long. Do not skip now, because this next truth matters deeply. There are hours when people suddenly understand that someone has occupied more space in their heart than they ever intended. They may not say it immediately, they may even resist it. But once that understanding appears, everything starts connecting in ways they did not notice before. That is exactly where they are now. A small reminder today made everything stronger. It could have been hearing a name, seeing something familiar, remembering a shared detail, or simply sitting in silence long enough for the truth to rise again. Whatever triggered it, the feeling became impossible to ignore. And now, what they thought would fade is becoming clearer. Something huge is waiting for you, because what they feel is no longer staying hidden in the same way. There is another reason this matters. Last night did not only bring emotion, it also brought reflection. They looked back further than expected. They thought about moments where they stayed silent when they could have spoken. They thought about times they stepped away when they could have stayed closer. They thought about how often fear of uncertainty became stronger than honesty. And for the first time, that reflection did not bring comfort. It brought a quiet realization that some distances are created not because feelings are absent, but because feelings were never expressed clearly enough. Stay till the end, because the next shift has already begun. Today, while others may see nothing unusual, they are internally comparing what they used to believe with what they now feel. That comparison is changing their perspective. They are noticing how often your presence remained in their thoughts without explanation. They are noticing how certain memories refuse to disappear. They are noticing how, even after trying to move forward in ordinary ways, something unfinished kept returning. That unfinished feeling became impossible to deny after last night. Do not skip, because once someone reaches this point, their next decisions rarely come from habit. They come from what the heart has finally accepted. And hearts do not arrive at acceptance casually. It takes repeated reminders. It takes silent nights. It takes one moment that suddenly makes every hidden thought impossible to ignore. That moment has already happened. This is why they may seem slower today, more reflective, more careful with words, more present in silence than in conversation. Something inside them is measuring whether what they have kept contained can remain contained much longer. Something huge is waiting for you. Because when someone begins questioning their own silence, change moves closer than expected.